Hello everyone, it is Rella from Rella's Wondercrafts. Haven't done a video in a little while. Life has been extremely busy for me, and normally I do a face-to-face intro, but this past week has just been a bit crazy for me, so I'm not feeling the greatest, kind of just taking it day by day, I guess. But anyways, so I do appreciate all the subscribers that I've gotten here lately. I haven't been posting videos as much as I've wanted to. So the fact that I'm still getting subscribers is absolutely phenomenal and means the world to me. So I definitely appreciate that. Okay, so I won't bore you guys too much with my rambles. So today I'll be working on a 30-ounce tumbler. We are going to do ombre. So if you don't know what an ombre is, it's basically two colors that kind of seamlessly go together. Ombres are not my favorite. I don't do them enough, honestly, but I've had some pretty good ombres in the past, so I don't have any right now I can show you. Hold on, give me just a second. Okay, so like this is one of the ombres I've done. It was probably the first, I think this is the first ombre I ever did, and like the lines are just harsh and it does not look great. I was not happy with that one. This one right here was a little better, so still some harsh lines, and I'll show you how I end up fixing the ombre to make it a little bit more seamless. But you can kind of see like just the harsh lines moving through here. So now over time my ombre did get better. Here's one. This is one that I made for myself. It is, let me see if I can go ahead and turn my light on here. There we go. So this one has 3 different colors here, and you can just kind of see like these two really melt together because the colors are so close. And of course I got my chevron, which is also ombre as well. Okay, and then this last one is my newest one. So this is a pretty good ombre. So this is for, she isn't my biological or my stepdaughter, but I helped raise her, so she's kind of like a daughter to me. This is my sunflower one. Okay, so anyways, today I'm working on actually 3 of these. I'm going to show you the first one. The first one will be a white glitter with a neon orange, and the other one is a white glitter with baby blue. So, and this has already been sanded and primed with flat white primer. I use Rust-Oleum from Walmart. This is a Ozark from Hombre as well. You can see the logo there. I will be changing up all of my cups. I will no longer be using Ozark. I have been getting Hog as of lately. To me, they have the best cups and the best prices. So that's what I'll be using probably after I get finished with these. I did buy some of theirs, and I like them really well so far. So anyways, I'm using this white glitter. It is from Madame Glitter, and it's called Savage. Let me find the bag here. So it's called Savage. And then I'm using this beautiful neon orange. I love this. This is awesome from Madame Glitter. It's called Archie the Scarepig. And I use Madame Glitter the majority of the time just because her glitter just has such a shine to it. I love it. And this is called Scully, as in like the big blue guy from Monsters Inc. Or sorry, Sully. All right, which I'm a Disney fan. I'm surprised with myself. Okay, so I'm going to be using the Mod Podge method to add this ombre. You can use epoxy, but I like Mod Podge just because I feel like I'm in more control, and then it's one less layer of epoxy you have to add to the cup itself. So let me go ahead and put this on an arm. Give me 1 second. Okay, so I got my little arm on here. Okay, so if you don't like Mod Podge, that's perfectly fine. You don't have to do it this way. You can also do it the epoxy method way, like I had just said. And I'll go ahead and do a video because I have 3 of these to do. So I'll go ahead and do one with the epoxy so that you guys can see how that one's done as well. Okay, so I'm just gonna go ahead and get started. I've got my Mod Podge brush here. I'm using glossy Mod Podge to apply to the cup, and the Mod Podge will dry pretty quickly, which is okay because I will have to add probably a few layers of this. Typically I only have to add 2, but the cup is much bigger than, I actually do not normally do 30 ounces, just because in my area where I live, they're not as popular. And of course, because they're bigger, they also cost more. So a lot of my customers, they like the, you know, best bang for their buck, basically. I mean, I guess most people are like that, but they're just not that big of a hit for me. Here lately, it's been the 20-ounce skinnies, which I personally love the 20-ounce skinnies. My cup is a 20-ounce skinny, so, I mean, it just, I have small hands, so it just fits into my hand better. But anyway, so I'm just going over the cup with the Mod Podge. I like these Mod Podge brushes because they do not really leave any streaks, like any thick streaks. I mean, they're designed for Mod Podge anyways, so I just like them a lot better. And I'm just adding a coat to this. It's not super thick, but it's not thin either. So got some dripping down here. And then we'll go ahead and add glitter here in just a minute. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and start with the white. You can see I'm starting out pretty close to the cup. And as we move down, I get further and further away from it. What that does is it kind of helps the glitter to, I guess, splatter a bit further without it being like right there on top of the cup, which I'm already out. Let's just go ahead and add more to this. It may seem like I'm using a lot, but I'm honestly not. Okay, so now I'm gonna start from high up. Can't really see, but I'm going up pretty high. Oops. Going up pretty high so that it kind of bounces down into that bottom part. Which with white, you really don't have to worry too much about it because, I mean, white glitter is pretty, it's a light color, obviously, so. You'll be able to see it a lot better with the neon orange. So let's go ahead and do that. And then I will go ahead and get the neon orange going. And then just so you guys can see, I have my little cup here. I just pour it back in. Probably not gonna pour all of it in. Yeah, because it's a little too much, but that's okay. We've got that one right there. Now let's bring over this one. Okay, so now we're doing the orange, starting pretty close to the cup again. So you see, like, I'm close to it right now, and then as I move closer to that white, I go up a little bit further and further. And you can kind of see doing that allows some of that glitter to come up into the white without it like pouring onto it. And this is really trial and error too. And whenever, okay, so also when it's building up, if you want to bring it down a little bit too, you can do that. So like it'll kind of come down into that white when you shake it off in a downward angle instead of just, you know, throwing it off of it. But this is really a trial and error type of thing too. Like whatever works best for you. No one's gonna make these the exact same way as someone else does. And that's perfectly fine. We all work differently and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But for me, this is just the easiest way to do it. Make sure you always get those bottoms. And I will have to put another coat of this on here. So you can't really see it on here, but I am taking this and like, so if you can see it, like I'm way out of camera when I'm pouring it up here closer to the top of the orange ombre. And it does take practice. I am still not proficient in the ombre aspect. Like I said, it's not my favorite thing to do, but a lot of people, they love those ombre colors. And I'm also not just pouring it on here either. I'm trying to be gentle with it as I'm tapping the glitter cup. All right. So this is where we're at so far. Like I said, I will be going through and adding another layer. So I think that's a pretty good ombre so far. I probably honestly wouldn't need another layer, but I kind of want that neon pink to kind of pop out a bit more. And look at that shine. That glitter is absolutely amazing. So, yep, so it takes about 30 minutes for the Mod Podge to dry, like fully dry. I know some people go straight to Mod Podging, like once the first layer has dried up for them. I actually like to seal mine. I haven't had any problems with it sealing and then like the second layer going sideways. But I like to seal mine because whenever I'm adding, I'm sure it's probably because I'm not letting it dry long enough maybe. But I have an issue with the glitter still coming off with the Mod Podge. See, I missed some on the bottom. But that's okay. When we go back through, we'll fill that in and make it look pretty. But yeah, I've had issues with the Mod Podge, the glitter still moving, and I'm not a big fan of that because I try not to be a perfectionist. You cannot be a perfectionist when you're working on cups. Just because you might, I've said this again and again in all my videos, you can try to make the same cup twice. It is never going to come out the exact same way. Something's always going to end up being different. Like you would have to have just a plain Jane cup. And we all know I do not make plain Jane cups. So, okay, so there's that one. I have another one to make as well. I think I'll go ahead and do that one. And I'll come back once this dries and I seal it. I will be sealing it with Rust-Oleum gloss, clear gloss. I'll be sealing it with that. And then coming back and adding another layer of Mod Podge to this cup and then adding more glitter to it. In the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and get my other two finished. Well, I'll get my other one done via Mod Podge like I like to do. And then the other one, I'll go ahead and do an epoxy, the epoxy method, so that you can see that. And I mean, that's pretty much it for now. So I'll be back here in like an hour. Okay, so now we are on to the epoxy method with the Ombre. So this cup was given to me by a customer. They went and picked out the cup, and they're wanting it to be white and then like a magenta color. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you. I have the epoxy mixed already. This is 5 cc's. So on the side of the measuring cup here, it does have the cc's on the side. I put 5 and 5 of the epoxy. So I am using Pro-Marine as the epoxy, and I have my parts in these squeeze bottles here. I put 5 of part A and 5 of part B, and I mix them together. This is probably too much, if I'm being honest, because when you want to do the epoxy method with the glitter, you don't want a heavy coat. And you don't want a heavy coat because the glitter absorbs the epoxy. I'm sorry, yeah, the epoxy absorbs the glitter. So as you're working through it, from where the glitter is absorbed, having too much epoxy will cause basically it causes the glitter to not stick as well. Like it won't be like an even coat. It won't look good, basically. So anyways, let's go ahead and turn this on. Okay, I like for mine to be turning clockwise, so just a habit of mine. All right, now the colors I'm using white on top. So this is called Savage, and it is found on Madam Glitter. You can just find this right on her website. It's called Madam Glitter, and this is the white called Savage. And then this is the magenta. It is called Cheshire, like from Alice in Wonderland, Cheshire, which I am a huge fan of Alice in Wonderland. So, and this is also on Madam Glitter. Okay, so I think I covered the basics for the most part. Let me go ahead and grab my epoxy. You can find Promarine and you can find these measuring cups on Amazon. I got 400 measuring cups for like $15, which is a pretty good price. So let's just move my glitter out of the way. Okay. And like I said, we're going to just do a very light coat. Of course, my turner starts making noises. Hopefully me explaining the epoxy versus the glitter thing kind of makes sense. My brain is not all here today. We've had a lot going on. And so that's how life is, right? And glitter, when you put glitter in epoxy, the glitter also settles to the bottom, which is another reason why, you know, it's highly recommended to put a very light coat of epoxy. At least the first layer needs to be a light, thin coat. So that, because I can better explain it now that I'm thinking about it. So when you add if you already know this, then you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. But if you're new to epoxy and glitter and tumblers, just be wary that when you're adding the glitter to the cup and you do the epoxy method, the glitter will sink to the bottom. So like if you're doing like a silicone mold, like something like this for like the toppers, when you're adding the glitter to this, if you add glitter to it, it will sink to the bottom. So you want to add enough glitter to it so it doesn't do that. And it's the same way with the tumblers. So when you add your epoxy to the cup, you want it to be thin. You want it to be thin so that when you're adding that glitter, it doesn't sink. You want it to be shiny, you want it to be pretty. You don't want it to sink and kind of dull out. And plus, on top of that, you have to add, so once you put the glitter on and you let it dry, that's your first coat, right? Well, when you add the second coat, you're going to have to do a flood coat. And what that means is going to be a much thicker layer of epoxy, and it will be since it's a thick layer, it helps to cover the entire cup so that you don't have that rough, gritty feeling from the glitter. So we are just about ready to start adding the glitter here in just a second. I'm just being a bit picky. So hopefully all of that made sense. If it didn't, feel free just to comment below and just ask any questions you have. I know sometimes I am all over the place, but okay. So this is a pretty thin layer, and I mean, I didn't even use hardly any of that. So, which I'll probably put that in a mold here in just a minute. Okay, so I think we are ready to go ahead and add our glitter. And I'm just gonna wipe off my little finger cut. I just use baby wipes. They're super duper handy. I don't like the top here. How's to okay. Stop touching it, right? Okay. So I'm gonna let that spin for just a minute. Kind of let this even out. Try not to touch it. I'm going to take the heat gun to it too, just to help thin it out a little bit. And if you can see here where my hand is, so this is one of the cups that I did with the Mod Podge method. So we still need to add one more coat to it, and then it'll be ready to go. So you saw me put the heat gun, use a heat gun on this. It helps to thin out the epoxy a little bit and pop some of those bubbles. So we are going to go ahead and start with Savage, the white glitter. And I do have a piece of paper down here, just copy paper, to help catch that glitter. So, and it's the same, you're just doing the exact same thing as you did with the Mod Podge method. The only difference is now you're using epoxy. You can see I'm starting to, you can actually see this a lot better in this angle, but I'm just bringing up the cup pretty high so that whenever I'm tapping it and that glitter falls, it extends out. Like it's not so close that it's all clumped together, it's kind of just spreading out a little bit further. Which gives it that really good ombre look. So, okay, so I think we're good with the white for now. Take this. I'm just gonna, there we go. Okay, I'm gonna set this over to the side. Okay, and I have another sheet of copy paper I'm bringing over to catch this pink. Starting from the bottom and working my way up. And this is, you can see this really well in here too. Hopefully you can. You can kind of see how the glitter is coming up the further, like the higher up I go. Which I'm going to take this arm off here in just a minute and do the bottom. But I'm going to add a little bit more white to this too. And another thing to watch out for when you're doing the epoxy method, as you're adding the glitter to it, if you see slick spots in it, which I see some slick spots in this already, if you see slick spots, you're going to want to go back and add some more glitter to that, because if it looks like it's wet, that's what I mean by slick. If it still looks like it's wet, that means there's not enough glitter on it. So you just want to keep a sharp eye out for that. Now sometimes you might have to add another coat of glitter, which is perfectly fine. If you have to add another coat of glitter, you don't have to do a flood coat. You can go ahead and just do another thin coat and add it that way. But I don't think I'm going to need another excuse me. I don't think I'm going to need another coat. This is coming out pretty well, I think. So, which now I'm going to stop this from spinning. And I'm going to do this. Some of that glitter is going to come off, which is fine. Okay. And let me grab another sheet of paper. Hold on. Okay, so we're just going to add some of this to the bottom here. So I probably will have to go back and add a little bit more glitter to this. Just to the bottom of it because it didn't take quite as well. And that was my fault. I should have done the bottom first. But that's okay. Okay, so from where it didn't quite cover the bottom, I will be going back and adding another coat of glitter to this. All right, and then I'm just gonna let this spin. I would say before you add another coat of epoxy, let it spin for probably about 6 hours is what I would say. That might be incorrect. You could probably take it off a little bit sooner than that, but I'm pretty cautious about how long I let my stuff spin for. So, oops, wrong one. So I will probably come back to mine, like I said, in about 6 hours or so to kind of finish up that bottom, make it look better. And that's how you do the epoxy method. Is pretty much the same way as the Mod Podge, just with epoxy instead. So, and let's see, let me find this. Okay. So this was the Mod Podge one I did. And as you can see, it turned out really well. I think it turned out super cute. And of course, we've got this one back here that's spinning, or not spinning, but needs another coat of epoxy. And then we have this one here that's spinning. I like to do Mod Podge just because, here, let me do this. There we go, hi. So anyways, I like to do Mod Podge because it's, I feel like it is, I can control it better, which I mean, you can control it pretty well with the epoxy, but number one, epoxy is expensive, at least it can be, and it takes more epoxy, I feel, to do it this way. So if you do Mod Podge is cheaper. If you can stand to use it, then I would definitely recommend Mod Podge for anything. And I use Mod Podge now for pretty much all of my first, like my main base coats. But, and once again, like, you see where I kind of, like, I didn't get the bottom of it, and it's because it's spinning, and I didn't think to do that first, which, it happens, no big deal. But, just as, like, a takeaway, so, if you are doing Mod Podge, you want to put the first base coat on, so you'll have the Mod Podge, first base coat, you add your glitter to it, and then you let that glitter dry for about 30 minutes to an hour, give or take, depending on temperature of your house and things like that. And then I always take it outside and I seal it. And I seal it so that when I add the second coat of Mod Podge, if it's an ombre, it won't, the glitter won't streak up the cup. So once you add the spray to it, you let that dry, then you come in and you add your second coat of Mod Podge, and then you add your second coat of glitter on top of the Mod Podge. So, and then after that, you let it dry. I would wait until the next day to add your epoxy, not necessary, but I would do it just to make sure that it's fully dried and, you know, it's fully cured and ready to go. For the epoxy method, thin coat of epoxy, glitter, let it spin, and then if you need to add another coat, thin layer of epoxy, add your coat. You might need a thicker layer of epoxy just because you already have glitter on top of it, So it's going to absorb that glitter. Absorb that glitter. There we go. Words. So that's pretty much it for this. If you guys have any comments or questions, just make sure you put them down below. That's pretty much it. Hopefully I covered everything. I can't think of anything else that I would need to add to the video. So yeah, I think that's it. Well, it's been great doing this with you guys. Hopefully you learned something. And I am Rella with Rella's Wondercrafts. You can find me on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, all things except for Twitter because I don't have one just yet, but that's okay. I have a website that is getting built, so hopefully that will be good to go here soon. Yeah, so like I said, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. You can find me on Facebook as Rella Wonderland, and I will see you on the next video. Bye guys!